Welcome to the Phillip Wylie Show. Take a look behind the curtain of professional hacking and hear compelling discussions with guests from diverse backgrounds who share a common curiosity and passion for challenges and their job. And now, here's your host, offensive security professional, educator, mentor, and author, Phillip Wylie.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Phillip Wylie Show. Today I'm joined by Emily Dobson. So Emily and I know of each other through her dad. I used to work for her dad. He was my director when I worked as a pen tester for a bank. And we met originally through the conference, your university conference that you were hosting and invited me to speak at back in 2023. And so you've gone on to start your own conference, but we'll get into that a little bit. Thanks for joining. And if you wouldn't mind sharing your hacker origin story, kind of how you got started in cybersecurity up to where you are today.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I got started because of my dad, actually. So he's been in the industry for forever, so I kind of grew up watching him do everything and I wanted to learn more about it. So as I got older, I started learning a little bit about tech here, a little bit about tech there. I went to college for digital forensics and cybersecurity, which made me fall in love with everything even more. So I just kind of deep dove into this and wound up running my first conference while I was there. And from there, I've just been making connections and learning from everybody around me.
Yeah, it's really cool. And one of the things that's interesting too is that your dad is in cybersecurity and you were interested because there's so many times that people have children and they're not interested in what their parents do. So it's kind of, it doesn't seem that common to me nowadays that people want to do the same thing that their parents do. So that's kind of good that you had someone that was a good example of what you could do in a cybersecurity career because it's kind of could be difficult trying to find what you want to do career wise because some people get some of these art degrees and not to downplay or say art's bad, but sometimes people get into degrees and get into a lot of debt that's really difficult to pay off these student loans. And fortunately for you, you got into, a job that's kind of lucrative. You can actually make decent money at what you went to school for.
Yeah, like it's not just my dad though. Like my entire family has some kind of connection with computers and I've done work with them. So I just kind of watched everybody around me working with them. So I just kind of naturally gravitated towards it.
That's good. Even one of your uncles is in
Yep.
the industry too, right? So that's good. So that's good that you had more than one example of who's doing that because that's even kind of my wife's dad was a programmer and he really didn't teach his kids anything about computers or anything and they kind of had to learn on their own later on. So it's kind of good when you've got people that you can learn from, and it's nice that you had more than one example so you could just see it's not just a fluke that this person's good at security. You got to see multiple people working in technology, so it's good that you had those role models.
But yeah, they're all like they all do slightly different things too. So it gave me multiple options of what I could do when I grew up.
Very cool. So what made you decide on digital forensics as a study?
So at the college, there was either comp sci or digital forensics, and I won't lie, I despise programming as much as I possibly can. I can do scripting, but don't make me write a program. Then we're going through school, I just kind of fell in love with it more and more because of my professors and being able to deep dive into like the ones and zeros of the computers. It's really fun. It's like a giant puzzle that I just have to be able to put back together.
So as far as digital forensics now in your day job, are you getting to do any digital forensics?
No, I do a lot more project management and sales engineer stuff right now, and I'm looking at eventually getting my CCP, which will allow me to do certification assessments for the CMMC.
Oh, very cool. It's interesting that once you start down a trail, what you want to do, and then you get in and you find other things because I mean, the CMMC that you mentioned is like one of the hot things now. And
Yeah,
yeah, and to be able to work in that area and some of the things people, not to discourage anyone from wanting to do digital forensics, but if you're doing incident response, those hours are not always, predictable. You don't know when you're going to get called in. That was like one of my second consulting job. I was working for AT&T, and the nice thing about AT&T is we could do anything we wanted to do. So if you wanted to learn digital forensics, they would send you for training and they'd get you doing digital forensics. And I had the opportunity to get put on a case to investigate this one breach. And I really wanted to stick more to the pen testing side because I enjoyed it, which I'm glad I did, because one of the things that comes, even pen testing has its pros and cons. Pen testing, you work some crazy hours, but instant response, you do too. You may get called up in the middle of the night to do something, and you just don't plan around an incident. Doesn't mean, okay, you can come in a couple of days. Someone's got to be there now. So yeah, some of these roles can be a little more challenging than what we may learn about in school.
Yeah, that's the one nice thing though. Like every year, I try and go back for BloomCon just so I can talk with the current students and tell them like, hey, these are some of the things that you can do with your degree.
So speaking of, what would be your biggest, based on your experience and graduating not so long ago, what advice would you give someone that's wanting to break into cybersecurity?
Make good connections. Like the way I got my job is because I made some really good connections at these conferences and they put me in touch with my current boss and everything kind of just lined up nicely for me from there on. But for breaking in, don't be afraid to reach out to people and cold call them. Like sometimes they won't answer, but sometimes they will. And least you can do is have a conversation with someone.
That's some very good advice. And one of the interesting things, because I used to teach at Dallas College and I always encourage my students to network, to get out and meet people, go to the conferences and the different meetups. But one of the things that's not always taught in colleges is to do the networking, the different groups to be associated with, because one of the things with academics, sometimes, the way they got in industry was kind of different. There's a limited number of college jobs and you go apply for the jobs or whatever process to get those roles is a little bit different than, in, the world of cybersecurity or technology, where you have to go apply for jobs or whatever. And then the application process and, networking really helps a lot there. And you've got to have networking nowadays, because the thing is, could you imagine if you didn't leverage networking, how much more difficult it would have been to find a job?
It would have been a lot harder to find one. Like the way the market is right now, it's been up and down all over the place, but everyone I've talked to that's found one has found it through making a connection either at a conference or through a mutual person.
So what got you interested in the conferences? Because I mean, you hosted the conference there at your former university. So what got you encouraged to do that?
So my dad took me to BloomCon when I was still in high school because he was like, "Come hang out, come check this out. It'll be good to get you interested and see if you like what we're doing here." Which then led me to finding digital forensics because I talked to my professor there. But fast forward all those years, and I was helping out just as a volunteer with the conference, and I'm like, I like this. I want to be able to help more people. So that led to me running BloomCon 7, which then after I graduated, I'm like, I still want to help people. I want to do more, which then led to me reaching out and helping run B-Sides Philly. And then Dad and I had a conversation 2 years ago now, and we were sitting in the kitchen like, what if? And thus Boardwalk Bites became a thing.
Very cool. That's awesome that you're doing that, because I mean, it's really amazing someone at your age and this soon out of college hosting a conference, because most people, don't do that for years into their career. But it's really cool that you're doing that, and along with, you know having the insights to realize that networking is very helpful. So running a conference, how's that helped your networking compared to just when you were going as an attendee and just the casual networking that you would do back before you started conference and started being involved in conferences?
Helped a lot. For BloomCon 7, I did so many cold calls just to get speakers there. So because of that, I was able to make so many new connections, and most of them still I talk to occasionally when both of our timelines line up a little bit. I got to meet you officially in person because of it. Yeah, like I was able to I walk up to tables now and I'm like, "Hi," and I just have a conversation with them. I listen to a sales pitch occasionally. Sometimes we just talk about what it's like working in the industry because I love being able to listen to people's stories and learn about their experiences and where I can grow from that.
So do you feel like you've gained a lot of knowledge from running a conference that you wouldn't have otherwise gained?
But yeah, I've been able to meet a lot of different people and all of them seem so much smarter than me at times, and I love that because everybody is really well versed in their niche.
Yeah, very cool. It's one of the things too. I'm just curious about too. Did running a conference at all inspire you to do project management in your day job?
It's kind of it kind of landed up inverse a little bit. So I've always tried to keep myself relatively organized. Like I have a planner. The second I got to college, I got one and I've been making sure everything stays organized. And from there, it just kind of worked its way into every other part of my life because I was also in charge of the clubs my senior year in college. So that kind of led to managing time, managing what we were going to do. So it worked out that way.
So I know you got your degree. So do you have any certifications?
Not yet. I'm working on my CCP right now. I had my RP, which was a registered practitioner, but that one expired about a year ago, and I haven't really needed it in my current job. But if I did need it, I could go back and get that one again.
So based on your experience, do you think certifications are required for someone to land their first job in cybersecurity?
They definitely help. Like they definitely give you a little bit of an edge and they let you have some more information and insight onto what is going on in the industry. So yeah,
So it's interesting that you have a degree because this is one of those fields not everyone has to have a degree. So how do you feel like that's prepared you for the real world?
my Keystone class, 417, it alone has made me realize just how important time management is because and report writing. That class, I had to write 3 separate case reports, and because of that, I have no problem reading all of the policies and procedures that I have to read in my day job, and it helped a lot.
Yeah, speaking of policies and procedures. A lot of people overlook some of the jobs around policies and procedures like compliance. GRC, global risk and or governance, risk and compliance. People kind of overlook those roles sometimes. I mean, it seems like everyone sees pen testing as a role, and that's what they want to do, but they overlook some of the roles. What are some of the roles that you think people should be looking out for that maybe they didn't learn about in school that are not as common?
Definitely those GRC roles. Like, I know when I pop over to the school, I'm going to be letting the kids know, like, hey, there is all of these other options out there outside of just penetration testing and your generic, like, cyber analysts and all like the lower tier ones. They're all really good starting spots. And because of those ones, you can grow into more niche fields.
Yeah, it's one of the nice things about cybersecurity that I share routinely is that, with cybersecurity, if you learn one specific thing and you decide to move into another area, that's going to be helpful to you. Because if you start out in GRC and you've been doing audits and that type of thing, you move over to pen testing, you're going to understand the requirements that audit needs more, as well as being able to test in a way that will make you a better pen tester. So I think people kind of overlook some of those roles, and some of those roles can move into other roles. Like, for instance, if you're working as a SOC analyst, then you can move into like incident response or eventually digital forensics and incident response. So the nice thing that I see about cybersecurity is the fact that the skills you gain are transferable in different areas. It's not like a total retrain, because one of the things you see, like in the IT field, if you're a database administrator and you decide that you want to be a network engineer, now you've got to learn all the Cisco, and you're probably going to have to take a little bit of a pay cut to go back and learn and get that experience. Whereas security is so much more transferable. So how's that? What is your thoughts on that, and based on your experience and
Oh, yeah,
observations?
I definitely agree. Like I worked IT help desk in college, and then I helped my university police department as their IT person, which right after school it let me be able to see like what other options there were out there because I was able to talk with everybody I worked with and see what different things there were.
So you hear a lot of people say, of course, security is not an entry level job because these are difficult jobs. But as far as people trying to break into the industry, do you recommend or advise anyone to maybe take a job in IT or help desk before moving into cybersecurity, if that's kind of like maybe the only way they could get a job?
For sure. Like IT and help desk stuff, it lets you see the bare bone basics and lets you interact with the users. So when you do eventually move on into the higher tier things, you can look back on it and remember, okay, these are the people I'm working with. Let's see how I can help make their lives easier.
And so what are your thoughts on soft skills? This is something, you got writing classes in college and speech classes, but there's sometimes, what you learn in school doesn't prepare you for real world. So what are your thoughts on some of the soft skills that people need to consider?
Soft skills are definitely an important thing. I know I had a conversation at one of the conferences, and they say sometimes the best candidate, they might not be the most technical, but if they have a higher set of soft skills and are willing to learn, they might take that candidate and be able to teach them what they need to do for the job.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because you look at pen testers, if you don't have really good writing skills, the pen tester that's got the really good writing skills, writing reports, is going to present better outcomes as far as reports and stuff sometimes. So I think the soft skills are overlooked a lot. And one of the things that's come up several times recently too, that is a soft skill I think people overlook, is the listening piece, not listening to people.
But yeah, I definitely see that one every now and then.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I see situations where people are on meetings and someone I know was on a call and one of their managers was on the call with them, and he said something on the call, and one of the coworkers sent them a message on Slack asking about something, and they totally got it wrong because they weren't paying attention. And then when you figure, if you're doing like a gathering requirements for a project, and if you're not paying close enough attention, you may miss something, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah. And that works in all aspects of life. Like I'm a nerd out here a little bit, so in D&D, the note taker is the most dangerous person at the table because they're the one that can counteract the dungeon master or game master. And it works the same way in cyber. The more you listen, the more you learn, and the more you learn, the more you can either help people or be able to ensure someone else is covered.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite sayings along the lines of listening, being a good listener, is they say you have two ears and one mouth for a reason.
Very true.
So you run your own conference, and what is your role for B-Sides Philly?
Last year at B-Sides Philly, I was promoted to president of the organization. So I am president of B-Sides Philly.
Very cool. So when is the next conference for B-Sides Philly coming up?
B-Sides Philly is December 5th, 2025 at Live Casino.
Very cool. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
very nice venue last year.
But yeah, we're excited to be back there again this year.
So is the CFP still open, and how long is that open?
Yep. The call for papers is open until September 15th, I believe.
Okay.
Let me double check. I have it right here. Yes, September 15th.
Very cool. So what advice would you give for someone that's never spoken at a conference before?
Talk about something that you're passionate about. Because a lot of times some people will submit call for papers that are just like generic things they think that people want to hear about. But if you talk about something that you're actually interested in and passionate about and work all the time with sometimes, you'll probably do a lot better and you'll be a lot more confident going into your talk.
So what about people that are kind of new to the industry? Would you recommend them still getting out there and putting themselves out there and speaking?
Yeah. Like a lot of conferences will go off of what the most interesting talks are or what fits their theme. For us, we go off of which ones we love the most. And it can be anyone from any part of the industry. We have people that are just getting started to ones that have been in the industry longer than I've been alive.
One interesting thing is I see some of the conferences, especially B-Sides, that are, a lot of times they will choose new speakers over some people that are more experienced, just the fact to give them experience. And I've seen some conferences that will actually offer some mentoring for people that want to speak at conferences.
I've seen a few of those just in passing, just chatting with other conference organizers, and it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's good to get people encouraged, because one of the things I'll say, one of the best things that I've done of my career is to get into public speaking. It's helped my career a lot. And that's actually why I got into it, because I heard from someone else at the call for papers for our local B-sides Dallas Fort Worth. When they were given the call for papers, the person announcing the call for papers said the best job of their career was because they spoke at conferences. So like the next week I went to Toastmasters and started, working on improving my speaking skills so I could eventually get to where I'm speaking at conferences, and then gave my first conference talk in like June of 2015. And so
Awesome.
been doing that for a little over 10 years now. And it's been like one of the best things. I used to be terrified of speaking in public. Did you ever have any kind of fears of speaking in front of an audience?
I still do. I won't lie. I am not a fan of public speaking, but I am working on getting better about it and trying to be able to do that more.
That's good. So what are some of the steps you're taking to try to improve overcoming that fear?
Losing at rock, paper, scissors of who has to give the opening talks, but just talking in front of smaller groups and then slowly, progressively getting slightly bigger groups that I have to with and in front of.
That's good. At least the good thing is you started a conference and it's a growing conference. So by the time it gets really huge, then you'll be comfortable speaking in front of a big audience.
I hope so. I think I'll still be nervous at that point, but that's all right.
Yeah, I think it just takes practice, because I used to be nervous, but I'm not nervous anymore once you do it enough. I think once you kind of realize that people in the audience, not everyone's brave enough to get up there on stage. And I think people kind of have empathy for that, and they kind of admire that. So I think there is some of that out there. So it's not so judgy like you would worry that it would be. Because one of the biggest thing that helped me in speaking was Toastmasters. We would record our presentations. And one of the things I noticed, I went back and looked at it because I felt terrified. I was sweating and just felt super nervous. And these were only like 5 to 7 minute talks, sometimes 12 at the most, because basically you're just practicing your speaking skills. And you can't let everybody in the group speak for an hour, because then the meetings would run forever. And I remember going back and watching some of the videos, and it's like, wow, I didn't look nervous. And then the feedback I got from my Toastmasters group was, no, you didn't look nervous at all. You looked really calm and you did a great job. And sometimes we kind of view ourselves more critically. And then once we kind of see a recording of ourselves, get some feedback, we're actually doing better than what we think we are.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Like I gave a talk a year or two ago now, a girls in cyber high school event, and that was the first time I spoke at a conference because I was invited. And I'm like, this is terrifying and really exciting at the same time because I get to help all these young girls that are looking to get into the industry.
That's great. So are there any kind of local meetups and stuff that you like to attend in your area?
I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere, so I don't really go to any ones in person. I make an attempt to go to some online ones, but sometimes the timeline just does not add up for me.
Yeah, if you don't have anything close by, that can be kind of a challenge. We're fortunate here in the Dallas Fort Worth area that we've got Dallas Hackers Association. We've got 2 different DEF CON groups. We've got an OWASP group. We got a WOSEC group. We got a WESIS group. We got a Women's Cyber Jitsu group. We got a North Texas ISSA here, which is like the largest ISSA chapter in the world. So we're fortunate that we have a lot of stuff close, but I can kind of feel for folks that aren't that close, that you can't go to these meetings regularly and stuff. So I guess you probably kind of missed that about being at the university, where you had more interactions and getting to do things like that.
A little bit. I lurk on Discord servers and I'll catch up with some friends on them because I'm in probably half a dozen or more different cyber Discord servers. So I'm able to keep in touch with people through technology.
Well, that's good. Along with what are some of your favorite Discord servers?
There's one called PA Hackers. So I've, I'm in there. I hang out with a couple of people sometimes when timelines line up, but rarely, just because like we're all over the state. So we'll catch up at B-Sides Philly. We'll catch up at B-Sides Harrisburg every now and then. If I can, the way things work out, I'll bring them over to Boardwalk Bites in the summer. So it
So
works.
are there any big conferences that you haven't been to yet that you want to attend?
I had to make my way over to I want to hit all the B-sides eventually, but that is a long-term goal. But I do want to get over to at least B-sides Vegas at some point because I've been asked by a couple of friends to come and hang out and check that one out sometime. So I might look into going over that way next year.
Oh, that'd be good. That's a good one. So we're getting down towards the end of the episode. Is there anything you'd like to share that we didn't get to discuss?
Let's see. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. The worst that someone can say is no, or they just won't answer. If you have any questions about the conferences, I'm on LinkedIn. Come chat with me. I'm always open to making new connections. Let's see. B-Sides Philly. Tickets will be available soon. The call for papers is open, and the sponsor package is available on the website. Same with Boardwalk Bites, which I got the date locked in, is July 10th, 2026 at the Bally's again. So we're super excited to go back again for year 3.
Very cool.
Yeah. And that sponsor package is opening up here, I believe, September 1st.
Awesome. That's great. It's pretty impressive, all the stuff you're doing. So keep up the good work. And I look
Thank
forward to the next time I get to see you in person, hopefully at Boardwalk Bites next
Yeah.
year. I won't be able to make B-Sides Philly because I will be in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for Black Hat Middle East and Africa.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Thanks for joining. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule.
Yes, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
And everyone, thanks for joining. We will have Emily's LinkedIn profile in the show notes so you can connect with her and on LinkedIn. And also, if you like the podcast, make sure to subscribe and share with your friends, because one of the best things you can do to help others is share information, no matter where you are in your career. Sharing things like a podcast, an article, or different security tools are a good way to help other people. So thanks, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Phillip Wylie Show. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, to learn more about Phillip, go to thehackermaker.com and connect with him on LinkedIn and Twitter @Phillip Wylie. Until next time.